just got torque all over the place.
It's good and smooth delivery too. I kind of like it. There you go.
Let's see what she does. Welcome to an episode of Jay Leno's Garage. The featured vehicle today, 1953 Ford F100, kind of a resto mod, hot rod, whatever you want to call it. You know, when I was in high school, there wasn't a lot of interest in trucks because you could pick up 32 Fords or 40 Fords for $300 or $400, you know, pretty inexpensive. And those kind of went through the roof. And then people started looking at trucks again. So it's fun to see hot rod vehicles like this one. It's still a truck. It's just been made better, faster, stronger, as they used to say. The man who built this, his name is Noah Alexander. He has a show on Velocity called Speed is the New Black. See, back in my day, that would have been the name of a drug show. But now speed actually means going fast. But it's a cool show. They're out of St. Louis, and this is just another example of his work. Noah, come on in, my friend. Good to see you.
Thanks for having me on.
Very nice. Thanks for bringing this all the way from St. Louis. I really appreciate it. And I love the color. It's a dark green, right?
It's a dark green, and then it'll flop to kind of like a purplish black if you catch it at the right angles.
Okay, but it's beautifully done. So I imagine in St. Louis, vehicles like this, or in Missouri, are probably a lot more prevalent than they are in Los Angeles. Was this a family heirloom? Did you find it by the side of the road? What's the story?
Well, we didn't find it by the side of the road, but it kind of looked like it. We built it for a customer. His name is Rob. He was a farm boy growing up.
Right.
And grandfather, father, everybody was into Ford trucks, so he decided that it was his time to build one. So,
I mean, was this something in his family?
It was not, but
Okay.
he found it. It looked like it had been underwater. I'm not sure where he drug it out of. It looked like it came out of a pond. So in fact, it looked like it had some barnacles growing on it, moldy, weird. I haven't seen anything that bad in a while. So
Was it running when you got it?
it was not running.
Yeah.
It did have the motor in it, and it started out as actually an F250, but the cab is the same size. So, you know, he wanted an F100. He found this truck fairly solid in some parts, but other parts horribly rusty. So, in the end, we ended up using the cab and a lot of new parts.
Okay. So what are you using for an engine?
We've got a Ford Racing 302. They call it the Boss 302, not to
Right.
be confused with the original 302.
Right.
Makes about 345 horsepower.
Very nice.
It's got a nice sound. It's reliable. We like to build something that our customers will drive.
Right.
Get out and use it. We'll build you something to show quality, but it's important that you get out and drive and try to break something. Have a good time.
And a proper gearbox.
Got a proper gearbox, 5-speed, Tremec,
Yeah, yeah.
Ford 9-inch in the rear end, 350 gears.
I'm trying to see what we've done. Obviously, it's been lowered.
Yes.
I'm trying to see what else. Okay, you took out the gutters at the top.
Drip rails are
Okay,
gone.
drip rails are
and
gone.
the vents in the side are now gone.
All right. Okay.
We've taken the running boards and we've narrowed them just to kind of give it more of a sleek look.
It's literally a running board now. It's just like one board. Yeah.
Just one board. You know, the kind of the main idea is with this truck is we get so many people that want to add so many options these days. And it's cool. Hot rod world's a big place now, but we wanted to build something that was simple. You know, go in and do some cleanup work.
What I like here is this sort of. I know it's not pewter, but it's sort of a dull, as opposed to a flash chrome. It's just got a nice, soft, warm appearance to it.
Yeah,
what is that? Is it?
So we were kind of, you know, big picture, going for kind of an earthy look because he's a good old farm boy, and he kind of liked some colors we threw down for him. So that's actually it's a metallic bronze with a flat clear over it, which gives it an interesting effect. So it still has a nice pop to it, but you know, it stands out as an interesting kind of part. So if you look around the truck, there's a few places where we've placed those little accents, the wheels,
right,
the mirrors, which are actually.
Did you make these wheels, or is this a wheel that you modified, a standard wheel? A custom wheel you modified with the centers, or how did that work?
Chris Coddington made these wheels for us, and after we got our measurements done, we sent them out, and they came back. So they're 20s in the front and 20s in the back. Okay. And after we got them in, they were a billet wheel, but we painted them to match, kind of fit in with the theme on the rest of the truck.
No, it's nice. It has a nice, just gives off a warm sort of glow, which is what I like. It's not some something it's seamless. It's all flashing, and the chassis is all chrome and all this kind. It's just enough bright work on it. So
subtle details.
Yeah, it still looks like a truck.
Right. We like the design of the original truck. So we went in like let's take these original lines, which I think have aged pretty well. We're a big pickup truck people that we build a lot of other stuff, and kind of clean everything up and clean up. We spent we've got about 500 hours in body work.
Wow.
These were utilitarian trucks. These were meant to be, bashed around farms and driven. So the lines aren't that great, the gaps aren't that great, but we've got a lot of time just making stuff flush and
I love the
even.
interior as well. I like that. Again, it's that muted.
Right.
It looks like it's been sat on, even though it's new. I mean, it looks like it came with patina, which is kind of funny.
Yeah. So the leather, we wanted a really natural looking leather to kind of go with the bronze and the green. So we chose something that is kind of like an original, like it looks like the leather on a baseball glove when you were a kid, and kind of has that smell as well.
Yeah, that's what leather on a baseball glove. That's probably the best example. Can we open the hood? Let's see what it looks like under the hood.
Absolutely.
Oh, it articulates out a little bit, doesn't it?
Comes out a little bit, and these were kind of interesting hoods from the factory because they never opened that high, so they almost will hit the window almost immediately.
Yeah, if you wonder why a lot of 53 Ford owners have back trouble, it's
this is why we just found out
from doing this. And boy, nicely done. And again, you've continued that theme of the sort of, what did you call this, bronze?
Yeah, bronze.
With the valve covers, even the alternator and the air conditioner. I love the fact you've got the steering box reasonably clear of the headers. I'm always amazed at these guys that have the steering gear either going through the header, the column gets so hot, you wind up boiling the grease in the box. And
driver's side header is always a pain. Passenger side is breath of fresh air, pretty easy to put in. So
even distributor cap you did in the bronze, which is great.
All bronze. We like to build a motor that kind of looks like it may not run. We tuck away all of our wires, and we'll have some.
And this looks like a throwback to the early Ford. Air cleaner from the 60s. The big 427s had that. Remember they used to have a Thunderbird emblem on the front?
You got it.
427.
You can build a real crazy over-the-top air cleaner, but we, sometimes we'll also do some kind of throwback stuff to just kind of tie in some other eras that we're fond of. So we built custom inner fenders for it. Custom
Sometimes it's nice to have an air cleaner that just cleans the air. Yeah.
You have one job to do.
I'm always amazed at guys that come by here with cars. Functionally, they don't work, like chrome rotors. Can we drive it? No, because the rotors are chrome. Well, so as soon as you press the brake, you're peeling off the chrome.
It's over.
It doesn't make any sense.
It's over.
It doesn't make any sense. No, nicely done. I imagine when you work on this, you just must take the hood off because you just break your neck.
You've got we have very sensitive lower backs. We don't want to mess that up. So the hood does come off, and that makes it a lot easier.
And something I really find interesting is this, obviously it's a metal hose essentially from here to here, as opposed to just running the rubber hose all the way. Interesting.
A little bit cleaner, and the rubber hose when it goes at that angle kind of looks a little strange.
Let's close the hood, and I want to ask you about the suspension. Real low to the ground. Does this raise up at all?
So, while I do like air ride, we built this. This is a static system, TCI chassis. So we've got a Mustang 2 style front end.
Right.
4-link in the rear. So nice, stable ride. Actually handles like a little go-kart, which blew us away. So we love the way it rides. We want our customers to drive this stuff, so it's important that it rides well. So it's still very smooth. The springs are not under too much compression.
Right.
And it's smooth, and it's got the stance as well. The other thing about the static system is that the alignment's always right. So, once you go with an air ride type scenario, it's good at a point, but it's nice when you drive something, you get in it every time it's the same, it's precise, it's tight, and it drives unlike a pickup truck ever drove. It's fun.
And what's your horsepower?
345 horsepower.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah, it's good, nice, reliable. It's there when you want it.
And that's an honest number. I'm so tired. It's got about 600. And I drive and go, this isn't 600.
That's 345.
You can't. Yeah, it feels more like 345. No, that's a real nice number. And I imagine people think because it's a truck, it's heavy, but of course there's no steel door guard beams, there's no airbags. So you're probably looking at 3,500 pounds maybe.
Yeah, I think it's right about 3,400. We
Yeah,
put it on the scales when we aligned it. And so it's not heavy at all.
Yeah.
You know, old vehicles were simple, not
Right.
as much stuff, so cars haven't gotten a whole lot lighter over the years.
And how long did it take to build something like? I mean, the guy brings it to you. Did you find the truck for him? Did he find it and bring it to you?
I prefer to find vehicles for people.
Yeah,
It's easier that
yeah,
way
yeah.
and cheaper for the customers in the end. So he found it, brought it in.
Yeah.
We sandblasted it down, and it was kind of a nightmare. So, you know, we spent it was a little bit, but about a year and a half to build
Yeah,
it.
yeah.
You know.
And customers go, just fix this area up here, just fix that, and I think you're ready to go. You know,
Everything's anybody that brings something in, it's always really straight and nice and rust free.
It ran when parked.
It ran when it was parked. You know, that was 20 years ago, but so, you know, that's kind of a trick bag. But once we get something into bare metal, then we can kind of come up with an actual game plan for the restoration.
And how'd you come up with the title of your show, Speed is the New Black?
I did not come up with that title.
Oh, they didn't come up with somebody else.
That was given to me.
Oh, that was given to you.
That was
Okay.
here's the title of the show.
But you're not throwing tools at each other, which is what I
know-
like shows like they feature the build, and so you can understand the process and how long it takes. These things where people build something in an hour and a half, and you know they wind up fighting with each other, and it just detracts from the integrity of the show.
It's low drama.
Yeah.
We've got so much talent in the shop.
Yeah.
We want to be able to showcase that.
Yeah.
Show how we do it. Teach people something. Inspire the next generation.
Yeah.
You know, and it's been good. So it's been well received, and we do awesome builds. They're full builds. We're not cutting corners.
When you have a shop like yours, how many projects can you have going at the same time? Like a customer brings this in, does the whole shop, boom, concentrate on this, let's go? Or do you have, 2 guys in this and 3 guys in that? How
Sure.
many projects would you have going at each?
That's a good question. So we do everything in-house,
Right.
and we got there because we wanted to control everything
Right.
and bring the quality there and make it more efficient. You know, when we have, you don't want a car that has to go out for interior
Right.
for a year and everybody else is, slowing the interior guy, then it just kills the deadline. So we do
Yeah.
everything in-house. We have about 20 projects going at a time.
Wow, 20,
Yeah.
that's quite a lot.
And
yeah.
we're able to balance that. Some of it's hurry up and wait.
Right.
Get it stripped down, get it in bare metal, send all the chrome out, whatever that might be. But while the car is getting body worked, our interior guy is working on the interior,
Gotcha.
and the parts guy's setting up the parts. So when the mechanics hop on it, it's set up, ready to go. And like I said, this is not an efficient process. It's hard. It's never the same, but
Yeah.
we try to streamline it as much as possible.
Let's open the door here and take a look inside, see what we're talking about. Very nice. Now, I know everybody does it. It's just a pet peeve of mine. I don't know why I hate adjustable steering columns. It detracts from, like whenever I get one, I have a car with one. I
take it out?
No, I put the wheel straight. So
Right.
It's always weird to me because I always want to believe it's still a 53, even though I
Right.
know it's not.
Exactly.
But I mean, to most people, and when you have one of these, it's probably very helpful. But
Helps a little bit.
it's one of those things that just drives me nuts for some. I don't know why. It's not
You
rational.
got to have something. You got to have something.
It's
all
not
right.
rash. It just
It's all
drives
right.
me nuts. I don't know why, because it always detracts. I love the fact that you've kept the original style pedals
We did.
and the original clutch and brake, and the shifter looks appropriate.
It's appropriate. We don't want anything to stick out, and kind of when we approach these builds, it's got to look like a completed vision. No random afterthoughts. That just doesn't do it for me.
And what is that steering wheel from? That looks familiar, but
That
it's way
steering
smaller.
wheel is from a 40 Ford.
It is a 40 Ford? It looks so small. Did you cut it down?
It is shrunken.
It is.
So beyond the adjustable steering column, we want the smaller wheel as well, which says,
Right.
with these things, it's like you hop in them, and I don't know who they built them for, but I think they were all teeny people my size. So
Now, there's no sound system, or is it hidden somewhere?
there is a sound
Oh,
system.
there is,
It's all
okay.
tucked in, and
very nice.
one little modern touch is all Bluetooth, so you can run it off your phone.
Oh, that's great.
It also has air conditioning.
yeah, but
But
not,
we have
I
we
see
have
the vents. Yeah.
yeah we actually worked them into the kick panels because you don't want this nice clean interior and then you've got a vent just hanging down off the bottom of the dash.
See, I love the fact it still looks and feels like a 53 Ford.
Right.
I sometimes hate it when you get an old car and it's got a totally modern digital dash with and I go, where's the feeling of nostalgia? You want to have that old type Speedo or steering wheel, whatever, and you captured that nicely. Let's move back towards the rear of the vehicle. Let's come around back here. Again, a lot of subtle changes. Now, I know the floor has been raised. Has the bed been lowered at all?
The bed's been lowered a little bit.
Okay.
The floor's up.
Yeah.
Just stuff that you're like, oh, that might have been done. So yeah, the floor's up 5 inches, and then we've got some mini tubs in the back because the
Right.
wheels are 15 inches wide in
Right.
the back.
And I love your exhaust system here.
Yeah.
Very nicely done. Nicely integrated. Again, using the bronze, it just looks like it's chrome that had mellowed over the years, you
Sure.
know, from exhaust gases.
Sure. We've got the taillights are actually 39 Chevy taillights.
Okay, I'm gonna say I thought maybe those are Ford, but no. Yeah, those look nice. And of course, you kept Mr. Wills' script here.
We got to keep that. You know, we try to keep as much original stuff as possible on it. We don't want to stray too far away from the original, but.
Well,
You know.
C. Harold Wills, he was Ford's metallurgist. He was the real genius behind the Model T. He's also one that designed that logo.
Right.
And Henry Ford liked it so much. They've kept it to this day. You know, the blue oval. He was a graphic artist as well, a real genius guy. He built his own car called the Will St. Clair, and one of these days we'll have one of those on the show. They're really kind of cool. What else is different? Okay, down, what's happening here?
So after we were finished with the truck, obviously driven on the street, we needed a place for the license plate, which became an afterthought at that point. And so clean, we just couldn't find a place that really, you know, got us excited or didn't ruin the back of the truck. So we made a little electric slide, so it'll actually slide out of the back. So when you're at a show or just in your garage, it's nice and clean and tidy, but street legal in the end. So you just flip a switch. It's kind of the only. We don't have many modern electronic updates on it, but it was the one thing that, you know, the electronic update helped us, you know, keep it clean and keep the original vision intact.
And what are these hinges from?
That's just a kind of a universal billet hot rod hinge, but it was clean and they're on the inside.
No, it looks very nice.
Yeah, originally, you know, it would be all hanging down back here, which I think looks good. Well,
how many gallon tank?
It is about 15.
Oh, okay. So it's not one of these 4-gallon deals.
No, you can hop in it and drive quite a way. And, and then we've got it worked into the stainless back here.
Yeah, the stainless steel is beautiful. Now, obviously, he never tends to carry it because there's not even any place to hook tie downs or anything.
Yeah, the farm animals are gonna have to ride somewhere else.
Yeah, and the farm animals are gonna have to sit low.
They're gonna have to, or ride in. You can ride inside. You can wipe the leather down a lot easier than you can fix this. So.
Is that the original back window? That looks bigger to me, but maybe I'm. Is that?
It is the original back window.
Okay, but that's what I like about it. I like when I look at something and go, is it that? Oh yeah, the drip rails are gone, but yet you've kept the sort of the mold of where they were.
Right.
I mean,
we kept the line where they were because you know some of those things were the line. I like the line. You know, we all thought that looked good, but just to completely eliminate it, it looked too flush, and you know it's you know we wanted. It was a weird balance to ride between kind of paying homage to the original lines, you know, and also cleaning it up at the same time. You know,
like to me, if I look at a vehicle and can't guess what it was, then it's kind of failed in its purpose to me.
It's kind of lost. You know, grills. I always thought grills are important. There's certain characteristics you kind of have to keep intact, or then it becomes, what is it?
Yeah. So when the owner brings you this, do you do your vision, or do you say, look, I'm going to get rid of the drip rails, do you go over each detail, or do they just sort of trust you and go with your instincts?
It's about 50-50. And then we do a rendering. So we always do a rendering, so it's like, it's clear. Because what I'm thinking, and what the team at Classic Car Studio is thinking, what the customer's thinking, may not be the same thing. You want to build something and have them say, well, it's kind of nice, but it's not really what It's not me. So we have a rendering, we build the rendering.
Right.
And the renderings are done to scale. So we stay away from the cartoony type renderings because that's not what you're going to build in the end. That's not a good representation. And then that's got most of our details on there. So we do one for the engine compartment, the exterior, and the interior. So it's all planned out. But along the way, often you're looking at something like, well, that would sure look a lot better without drip rails on it. We're doing all this other work. So then it's a phone call to the customer to say, what do you think about this?
Now, the other thing I find interesting is the color. Because, you know, back in the 30s and even in the 50s, greens were very popular. Then they just sort of disappeared. Right. I'd be willing to guess this is probably one of the few green vehicles, I mean color green, that kind of green, at the SEMA show. Sure. And that's what I like about it. It's different enough, and it's a really nice green. It's not in your face. It's just like a nice, what would you call it, forest green? Or
a little forest green. It's got a nice kind of dark flop to it, light metallic, but it doesn't really, you know, it's kind of, I don't know, soothing and, you know, comfortable.
Was this an existing color? Did you guys mix this yourself?
So we spend maybe too much time and money mixing, you know, custom paint. But in the end, you've got something totally unique that nobody else is going to have. Right. And we're sitting and looking at 10 different cards, but we can put that all down with the wood sample and the leather and let the customer choose exactly what they want. And, you know, unfortunately, or kind of the way it is, everybody wants red. Red is like the most comfortable.
Yeah,
everybody like what color do you want? Red.
Yeah.
Well, what do you think about? So we usually have a what do you think about this conversation,
Right,
but
right.
we come to the table with a lot of different options, and generally people will go in like a more creative
Yeah.
direction, and you don't want to be the next guy at the car show with
Yeah.
the red. Everybody's got a red
It's
car.
like being married. Oh, honey, what do you think of this? Maybe you have
What do
to
you
sort
think?
of,
Yeah.
you have to suggest it.
You got to let them come up with the idea.
it's their idea.
And I'm happy
Yeah.
to let them come up with
Honey,
our,
what do you
with
think
our
of this?
idea.
I like, oh boy, that was really good.
It's got to be collaborative.
Yeah, gotta be
Everything
collaborative,
works
yeah.
better that way.
Speaking of collaborating, can I collaborate on driving this truck?
You don't have to twist my arm.
Let's do it. And I would twist his arm if I had to, because that's how much I want to drive it. Oh, very comfortable. No brake to release, right? No.
Nope.
So how long you had your shop?
12 years.
Oh, okay.
So started off, I got out of college and realized I had done nothing by the end of college, and I needed to.
What was your major in college?
Psychology. I was a psychology major.
Oh yeah, open a little psychology shop. Thinking
Open up,
maybe something
yeah,
like
I was thinking maybe just run some people through there, and yeah. So I was kind of got out of school, and I was a little lost, and realized I had to make something of myself, and I'd had fun, and I had good grades. It was all right, but
Yeah.
I always loved cars, so I randomly got into the car business because I was actually waiting to go back to school. I was like, I gotta have to go back to school. I need a master's degree or something, So
Right.
anyway, but I ended up working for a guy, and he sold all these classic exotic cars and answered an article in the newspaper. It was like lucrative opportunity. So I
Wow.
was like, I'm going to take your lucrative opportunity, and it was okay. But that's how I got into the car business, and ended up.
But were you always building cars in high school and that kind of stuff?
I was like literally deprived of all car building stuff, and nobody in my family was into cars when I grew up either. So I kind of found my own way. Like I've got to had to get into the car business somehow. So
Well, it's funny. You can tell it carries all the weight down low.
it's like sitting on the roof of a car and driving it.
Yeah,
almost,
yeah,
'cause
it's funny. Yeah.
the weight's down there, but yeah, you're sitting up higher than you normally would. So we got the suspension tuned now, so it's pretty like even over rough roads, it still rides pretty smooth, and it's good because I think we always want to overbuild the suspensions in cars and put race car stuff on street cars, and then at the end of the day, you're kind of like, that was fun to buy those parts, and what do we have now? Like I'm driving a box of rocks down the road.
Have you done any straight restorations or always modified?
No, we do straight stuff as well. So we're doing a Torino right now, which is kind of cool. Kind of a hard car to restore. Not technically, but there's no parts out for these things.
Right,
So
right. What year Torino?
It's a 70. It's fun. I did an AMX last year. Same deal. Technically, not hard, but we struggled for like a year just to get all the parts together on it. I'm sure you see that a lot as well. So
I do, and that's the great thing about 3D printing. You can make yourself any part that you need, even trim parts. I mean, it's really been a savior because there are no junkyards anymore. Environmentally, you can't have them, so they just crush everything and throw it away, and it's kind of sad.
We recently got a 3D printer, and we've been loving it.
Yeah.
And in fact, we are in the habit now. We're making about a part, or at least prototyping a part a day.
Yeah.
Just there's so much stuff we always need. So still kind of learning the ropes, but the stuff's coming out nice, and it's an awesome way to test something out. And
and you can just put the the thing on file,
right,
and you pull out the card, you press a button, and you have one.
Exactly. So we've got it, and then some of them we've kept in in plastic form, and some of the other parts we'll just have them made on a Haas machine, and it's good. So it's been awesome, and so much of that stuff.
How do you find guys to work for you? Do you use interns like from?
I want. One of the things I want to do with the show is like I want interns. I want those people. I want to it's like this. I like to kind of like grow and build and cultivate stuff, and I can't. It's hard to do though.
Most of the builds you do from your areas around St. Louis, around Missouri, you do stuff from all over the country.
All over the world, actually.
Wow.
We get stuff from everywhere. I think a lot of it has to do with
people live in areas where there's nobody to work on their vehicles.
Right.
And then, you know, they'll see a project we'll do, or maybe find us online and kind of identify with us. Maybe I always like when people can come in and visit and see what we have going on, and then, you know, if it's a good fit, it works. And
To me,
you know,
the saddest thing is when I meet guys who are real enthusiasts and they send the car off and it sits there for 6 months and it gets taken apart, and either people don't know what they're doing, or maybe they're not crooks, but they're inexperienced or inept, or maybe they are crooks and parts disappear, and it's,
Sure.
you know, you put, you know, a $20,000-$30,000 deposit and your car's in worse shape than when you brought it in. You know, that's the worst thing.
it's hard to take a car like that and then do something with it. Also,
Right.
because you've got a car that's in pieces and maybe a bunch of work that's been done incorrectly as well. So it is sad.
Feels like about 345 horsepower.
About 345, yeah, 347. You're right. I don't know how you're so close. About right, you know.
It's amazing how many cars show up that are half finished. Okay, don't put it in reverse because we have no linkage. What?
Right.
What? Okay.
Right.
Okay, the lights and the horn don't work. You know?
I call this the last 10%. It's like at 90%, I consider a car. You look at it, it's all done.
Right.
The interior's in it, the lights are in it, everything's good,
Yeah.
but you're like not finished.
Yeah.
Because we usually do, I'm trying to think, 300-400 miles at least,
Yeah.
just to shake them down and make sure it works, and dial stuff in and realign it, and just there's something rubbing, something rattling.
There's one thing people always forget to do. I'm going to try it right now. And the horn works. You know how many guys go, I got to hook that up there. They don't hook up that. Congratulations.
The horn. The
I am
horn
very
never works.
impressed. I put you on the spot.
That
And
is-
look at that. And the horn works.
It's my pet peeve.
Yeah.
I bought and sold a lot of cars, and the horn never works. And why?
Yeah.
Why just you take it apart, and you know they come apart and back together pretty easily. And unless there's an issue in the
Yeah.
column, it's easy. But
And the funniest thing is there anything easier to do than the horn?
there's
I
not
mean,
much.
all you do, you got one line to ground,
Yeah.
one line to the horn, and you touch it, and it couldn't be simpler. You're talking, 45 minutes, maybe an hour at the most.
Everything else
Yeah.
is so much more difficult, but the horn. Right.
But no, it's amazing how many guys just don't bother with it.
They
So
skip.
okay, it's done, you know.
Right. They skip the horn. I don't know why. So that goes into that last 10%. You gotta figure out. You gotta drive them. You gotta use them, and you got on and off the lift a bunch of times. And then at the end of the day,
Oh.
you gotta have something you can hop in and drive when you have the time, and not something you hop in and you remember all the crap you didn't fix.
What
But
was your first build?
we did? The first build we did was 2 Camaros, 2 matching 69 Camaros.
Okay.
Kind of a pro touring build. They turned out well, actually. One's on the East Coast and one's in Laguna Niguel, right not that far away from here. So
This really handles nicely. I mean, look at
you
that.
know what? I on the show, my customer, we were driving it, and he took it around like a 90-degree turn, and I thought it was over for the both of us, and it ate it up, and it just gobbled up the turn. Yeah, it's responsive, and it'll never skip over pavement. It seems to suck up the stuff pretty well. So we are right past the point now where everything's kind of in good working order, except for our air conditioning, which wasn't blowing cold a second
No,
ago. So
you need the shop.
it may be mixing the heat and the air a little bit.
Is the owner local to your shop?
He is. He is actually local. So many people are from all over the place. We did a build 2 years ago for a guy from Belarus. Never talked to him on the phone. Just emails. We sent him renderings, sent him specs. He said okay, and I sent pictures off my cell phone, and the car turned out great, which I'm glad. But
What was it?
another Camaros, another
Okay.
69 Camaros.
So how long did it take to get your shop successful for when you decided, I'm going to do this?
It's a horrible struggle, honestly.
Or are you still waiting?
We're still tweaking, but
Yeah.
it wasn't until the last maybe 3 years it started to feel more dialed in.
Yeah.
That's after doing it for 9 years. So there's a lot of moving parts there. You've got a lot of different. You got to learn how to work with people. You have to get good people. You have to get the good clients.
Yeah.
So it takes it took a long time, and my hair's turning gray now. And,
How did people hear about you?
The best thing for us, word of mouth.
Yeah.
Positive experiences from other customers. They have a good time. They liked it. They liked the process, and we try to take what works well and what didn't. And there you You know?
Boy, this motor's just got torque all over the place.
It's good and smooth delivery too. I kind of like it.
Yeah, after a while you forget you're in a 1953 car.
Yeah,
I mean, it's very comfortable. And
some of the stuff you build, and I think people get lost in like the performance end, and it's so much fun to buy all that stuff, and you put it all on, and then when you're done, you built a race car.
yeah, I'm just,
And it's hard to, and then it's not really like a pleasant thing to drive. Maybe down like a drag
Yeah.
strip, but so we really try to come up with a
the
formula.
number of SEMA cars we've had, you go down the road and, hey, don't turn the wheel all the way. Try to go as
Right,
wide as
right.
because the tire's going to hit the fender. Well, I mean, why don't you should have done that at the, the first day. You
Yeah.
put the rack in and go, okay, we hit, yes, okay, let's make an adjustment. You know, the car's painted, everything's done, and now you notice the tires.
You got to take those measurements ahead of time.
There's nothing like a new gearbox, you know.
It's nice.
Sometimes you rebuild the old, it's still notches. Yeah. Well, this just fits nicely.
Nothing worse than some old linkage.
Oh, I know. Yeah.
These Tremex are nice. They're easy. We've got 350 gears in the back, and with 5-speed, I feel like it pairs pretty nicely. You go a little bit more aggressive with it, but then you get on the highway, and or you go with the T56, but they're a little bit bigger, and you got to cut away, and the transmission get kind of big. So I find they're pretty good for guys that want a nice cruiser.
Exactly. Yeah, nothing moves. Water temperature stays the same. Oil pressure. Everything's great.
Pretty consistent.
Very consistent. Very nice.
Reliable. Hop in it. Drive it for a long distance.
Yeah.
Go get ice cream. Whatever you're into.
Yeah. You can get a lot of ice cream with that truck bed back there.
Exactly. For you and all your friends.
And with the tilt-away wheel, you can eat all the ice cream you want. Just keep tilting the wheel
Thought
up.
about that in advance. Ice cream.
Well, I want to thank the man with two names, Noah Alexander, or Alexander Noah, whatever you want. Alexander Noah has almost...
I need to change that around. I feel like I'm kind of getting tired of Noah Alexander.
Yeah, but Alexander Noah just sounds more pretentious. Like when you start it, the guy who builds it is Noah Alexander,
right.
But the guy who owns it, that's Alexander Noah.
Alexander Noah.
Yeah, it's cool.
It's got a better flow, too.
But it's great. Congratulations on your TV show and all your success. And as I said, a lot of times when you see us go out for a short drive, it's because something broke and we don't want to embarrass the guy. But we've been driving this thing for about an hour, going up and down, sitting in traffic. It's a warm day here in LA. And boy, temperature never moved off of 195. Oil pressure's good. Not finicky at all. No attitude to this thing. Just a lot of fun to drive. And just as I'm talking to Noah as I'm driving, just getting a lot of thumbs up from people as they go by. So thanks for doing a great job. Really appreciate it.
Thanks for having me out. It's been a pleasure.
It's builds like this that really help the hobby. There's so many places that just do a crappy job or rip people off. And if you're watching this and you're thinking about getting a car done, always try to find a builder who's got a reputation like Noah, and I think you'll be in good shape. So once again, my friend, thanks.
Thank you, Jay.
Let's see what she does.
Mm-hmm.